Have you ever had one of those days where literally everything goes wrong? Like, oh, I don't know, you drop your phone in the public bathroom at Target after you peed, but before you flush? Yeah, that happened to me last weekend. I don't want to talk anymore about it. And honestly, that was just the cherry on top of what had already been feeling like a very stressful and overwhelming week. With work, I've been extremely stressed and overwhelmed with new tasks and new projects and old projects that I'm still trying to finish. I'm also trying to plan a family reunion with my cousins that pleases everybody, which is, of course, impossible to do so. And I've, of course, been absorbing everything that's been going on in the news lately, especially since I live here in Los Angeles and we have been having these ongoing wildfires, which has just been incredibly devastating to continuously see and read about. So today, I want to share with you 10 things that I do when I've just been having one of those days. Whether it's a bad day, a bad week, or honestly just a bad start to the year, these are my go-to ways to reset, decompress, and honestly just survive with all the chaos. The first thing I do is see my family. Last week, my sister texted me that she was having a little event and gathering with the family, and normally I try to plan ahead my trips when I'm going back up north to see my family, but this came at a really good time. It seemed like the family just needed to be together. I know I certainly needed to be with my family. And so my husband and I, we checked the status of the fires, we checked the status of the snow on the grapevine, and we decided to take a quick weekend road trip just to go up north and see my family. Now, because I live in Los Angeles, I don't get to see my immediate family too often since the majority of them all live in Northern California. But when I do get to see them, it's always a really special time for me, and I feel like it's a time that I really get to recharge, relax, and just be completely engulfed in a space where I feel 100% safe to be myself. The second thing is watching my favorite YouTube videos. So I've been watching YouTube basically since I was a teen, and obviously what I've been watching has been evolving for quite some time, and I feel like now going into my 30s, I've definitely started to settle onto a lot of content creators that focus on cozy lifestyles, cozy living, cozy gaming, and really just kind of coming into oneself. And so a lot of the times I just like to put on a YouTube video from one of my favorite creators like Cozy K or Just Jordan, and I'll link them all in the description below of some of my favorites, but they just create content that's like easily digestible. It's really entertaining to watch if I want to fully engage in it, or it's also just really great to just put on and watch passively while I do some other things like clean up around the house or color or even just paint my nails. So I really love to just tune out the world with a comfort creator, and I feel like finding a comfort creator should definitely be on your bucket list to do in 2025 if you haven't done that yet, because once you've found your core group of comfort creators, I think it just allows you to decompress in such a unique way and just really get cozy and get comfortable and allow your mind to just kind of relax. The third thing is writing in a gratitude journal. So writing in a gratitude journal is something that I tried a few years ago when I was struggling with my anxiety, and I really liked doing it then, but as life went on and I got busier, I kind of just let that habit trail off. However, this year I've been making it a point to do my gratitude journal both in the mornings and in the evenings before I go to bed. And by doing that, it really helps me be able to focus on things that aren't just so negative. I think it's really easy for myself, and I'm sure a lot of people, to focus on all of the bad things going on and all of the bad things that had happened to us today or this week or this month. But when you take the time every morning and every evening to write down all of the good in your life, even if it's something more general instead of something good that just happened today, I think it really gives us a great perspective that not everything is going to be so horrible and so bad if one thing goes wrong in your life. I think it's really important to focus on all of the good so that way we don't let the bad consume ourselves, because when we start letting all of the bad things pile up and consume us, it gives us a really negative and pessimistic attitude. So if you just take time out of your day to write down 3 things that you're grateful for, or 3 things that happened today that were really great and unexpected, I think it'll really help change your mindset and kind of reframe those bad days into days that just aren't that great but are bound to get better. All right, 4 is something that I actually did this weekend at my parents' house, and that is zoning out in front of the fireplace. Now, this isn't something that I can normally do because I don't have a fireplace in my apartment, but whenever I do go to someone's house that has a fireplace, especially my parents, there's nothing I like to do more than just sitting in the dark with the fire going and just zoning out. Something is so peaceful about cozying up next to the fire and just listening to the crackling sounds, feeling the heat warm your soul, and just letting your mind be at peace. If you don't have a fireplace, like a real one at home, feel free to put on a YouTube video because there are like so many different fireplace videos where it's just the fireplace. Sometimes they have cozy music on in the background and you can just zone out, dim the lights, and let yourself relax and get lost into the mindlessness of listening to a cozy fire. The 5th thing I do is just reading a book. So lately, I've definitely been trying to get through my TBR cart. I've had a lot of books on my list to read for the last couple of years, and I'm definitely trying to get through them. But sometimes I try not to think too hard about all of the books that I need to read so that I don't feel like having to read is kind of something that's on my checklist. I try to keep reading something that's very fun for myself and something that I like to do as a hobby rather than just a task. So when I recommend reading when it's been a hard week or a hard day, make sure it's something that you look forward to reading. Make sure it's a book that you can get lost into the story and kind of place yourself in the story or picture yourself as one of the characters. Don't let it be right now one of the self-help books where it's trying to teach you something or help you boost your business. Like, you can do those and read those books any other time. But when you need to relax and you just need to find some peace during a chaotic time in your life, read a book that you know you'll love. This can be a new book on your TBR cart, or it can just be a book that you've reread and reread many times. Like, if you love the Twilight Saga when you were a teenager like I did, and you just need some time to read a good book you know you'll love, go ahead and go back and reread Twilight or New Moon or Eclipse or Breaking Dawn. Just take a moment to be with yourself in a good book, and I'm sure that you're going to feel a whole lot better once you put that book back down. Number 6 is treating myself. Sometimes you just need to find a little bit of joy, and if that includes a little retail therapy, then I think that's totally okay. Whether that is indulging in your favorite sweet treat like going to Cold Stone or getting some frozen yogurt, or maybe it's treating yourself to a night of sushi and ramen, let that be your little treat to yourself. And I'm not saying a treat always has to be a nice like sweet or food item, but sometimes treating yourself can also include maybe buying that book that you've been eyeing at Barnes & Noble. Maybe it's finally buying that new top that you've been eyeing from a store. Treating yourself can mean so many different things as long as it means gifting yourself some time or an item that helps you kind of relax and forget about the chaos and the stress of your day. Just let yourself enjoy a little treat, guilt-free. Don't worry too much about your budget. I mean, obviously don't go and splurge on a treat that ends up being a 7-day vacation to Italy or something like that. That's not a little treat yourself moment. But if you want to treat yourself to a little day shopping or a little weekend trip or something like that, I think that's totally okay. So just make sure you're carving out a little time to treat yourself when life feels overwhelming. 7 is simply taking a time out. Sometimes the best move for me when times are getting tough and I have had a week of all weeks, I just need to disappear for a little bit. This can mean a lot of different things depending on what your style is. Taking a time out could mean that you just block off time on your work schedule for a little extended lunch and you turn off your notifications and you just take a nap on your lunch break. Or you go to your balcony or outside and read on your lunch break and take a little time to just be away from people. It could also mean spending Saturday alone in Do Not Disturb, putting all of your phone and your computers and your laptop and things like that where people can contact you to the side and just living in your moment by yourself or with your cozy person. Taking a time out, I think, is really necessary if you're a person like me and you constantly have plans or you're constantly on the go. Taking the time out just allows you to have that time and that space to do absolutely nothing, because sometimes when life is too overwhelming and it feels like there are so many things to do, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to do nothing. So take that time to dive back into your hobbies, to take a ton of naps, to cook yourself a nice meal or go out for a nice meal, but just disconnect from those responsibilities that are weighing down on you. And I promise you'll feel a whole lot better after that detox is done. Number 8 is having a hard workout. This one is really special to me because sometimes I don't feel like I can be sedentary or I can be still when I'm feeling stressed out. Sometimes my stress manifests in ways where I have an abundance of chaotic energy inside me and I just need to get it out in a way that is healthy and is harmless. And for me, that ends up being a really good, tough workout. So that could be pushing more weight. It can be running a 5K on the treadmill. It can be going on a hike or doing something where I can just punch a punching bag or kick a punching bag or like hit a ball really hard. Whatever that kind of hard workout or hard and physical movement that is for you, just take the time to do that. If you feel that your stress is manifesting in a way where you feel like you need to hit something, don't hit a person, don't hit a wall, hit a punching bag, and just let your body work out all of that anxious energy. And that is going to help you feel a lot better. I know I feel a lot better when I have an intense workout or a really good long workout and I'm dripped in sweat. My body is turned on. I am like flexing. I feel stronger than ever because when I feel strong after a good workout physically, I know that mentally I'm strong and I'm capable to go ahead and tackle all of these tasks or all of the things that are bothering me or are making me feel stressed out. On the opposite scale of kind of moving my body and working out those anxious feelings inside me is my 9th tip of what you can do when you're just having one of those days or one of those weeks. And that is just taking some me time. So for me time looks like putting on my noise canceling headphones, popping on an ASMR video on YouTube, dimming the lights and grabbing my coloring book or my nail polish kit or something that's a little bit crafty and just shutting the door and being by myself. Usually during this time, my husband will be playing video games or doing something else, and that's totally okay. But sometimes for me, I just need to take a break from everything, and I just need to be completely alone and just be with myself while still doing a little active hobby that keeps me entertained. Sometimes I'm doing this in my bedroom, sometimes I do this in the office, or sometimes I'll just take a cozy bath and I have my little YouTube on. My husband will make me some hot tea and give me a couple of cookies that I can enjoy in the bathtub, and I just take an hour or whatever that time may be that I have to just be with myself, to think about what's going on or to not think about what's going on at all that's stressing me out. I love moments of me time. This is something I've started implementing in my weekly life, especially on Sundays in the evening to kind of prevent those Sunday scaries, or Monday in the evening if I happen to have that Monday off, which sometimes I do for work. By allowing myself this time to just relax and not think about a bunch of things on my to-do list, I'm allowing myself to rest and recharge and be the best version of myself to tackle on the next day and to tackle on those next tasks. And finally, the last thing I do when I've had one of those days or one of those weeks is just get some one-on-one time with my husband. I know you might be watching this and you're like, I don't have a husband or I don't have a partner right now, and that's okay. But for this one, you can substitute husband with whoever that special person is in your life who you can go to for anything, especially when time gets tough, whether that's your best friend, your mom, your dad, your dog, whoever that person is for you. Carve out some one-on-one time with them where you can just vent and you can let it all out, whether that comes out as word vomit or that comes out in tears or uncontrollable laughter. Whatever that feeling is or whatever those feelings and emotions are, just let them come out in the comfort of somebody that you trust. I know when times get hard for myself and I'm feeling overwhelmed, often it's my husband who can see it before I can even detect it within myself. Sometimes he'll look at me and he'll say, Sahara, like, are you okay? You look kind of sad, or you look stressed out, or I noticed you did this, and usually you do that when you're really kind of at your limit. It's moments like that when I'm kind of looking at myself and thinking, this person knows me really well. He wouldn't just be saying that to get under my nerves, even though I'm feeling all kinds of emotions. Let me take a second, step back, and ask myself, like, how am I doing actually? Am I feeling okay? And a lot of the times I'm not. I'm stressed out, I'm overwhelmed, and sometimes I can take it out on my husband. So instead of taking it out on him, I just come to him, give him a big hug. Sometimes I'll cry it out and just he lets me talk, or he asks me questions and we kind of talk through it together and figure out the best way to get through these days together. I think it's really important to have a special person in your life, whether that's your husband, your partner, your best friend, or even a therapist that you can talk to, and you can talk about your problems and kind of let these days verbally come out of you so that you can mentally let them go. So yeah, those are my 10 ways of surviving one of those days or one of those weeks. Sometimes it's about movement, sometimes it's about stillness, and sometimes it's just about treating myself with breakfast for dinner and moving on. But now I'm curious. I've told you my 10 ways that I get through these hard days, but what about you? What are some of the things that you do to get yourself through a hard day or a hard week? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you could relate to this video, or if you found something in this video that sparked a moment of inspiration for you, feel free to let me know in the comments, of course. But don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I try to post videos a couple of times a month. As a girl finally turning 30, I feel like I've been in my 20s forever. But I'd love for you to join me on this journey of my 30s as I enter this new decade of life. I'm Sahara, the borderline millennial, and I'll see you in the next video.